Welcome back to the Shrink Down. Ladies, how are we doing today?
Good.
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 How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little
You
sleep
two have had
deprived.
rough weekends, I feel like.
Are we being honest? Okay, we're not just being like, it's not a
Good.
courtesy. How's everyone
Our
doing?
family's falling apart, but we're
Yes.
good. We're good.
My child had tonsillitis, or
Yeah.
had her tonsils removed. I'm saying tonsillitis. She had a tonsillectomy, and my husband's out of town, and I haven't slept and I'm tired.
See? Oh, I've slept on a couch for the last 4 days with my broken arm child.
Yes, so there you go.
Also with a husband out of town. So yeah,
What day was
we're
that?
holding
That happened
it
on the
together.
same. That happened on the same day, you guys, right? Thursday?
Yes.
Thursday was Sam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
had her tonsils out on Thursday. Yep. So
I know. I kept saying it's got to be a full moon. It wasn't, but then I was like, I wish I was somebody that paid attention to any of the was Mercury
Phases.
rising or what was
Retrograde,
happening
yeah.
in the universe. Right? It was a strange week last week.
Well, today we're going to be talking about celebrity comebacks. I feel like we tie in our recent 90s, where the 90s having come back. So we're going to be talking about celebrities and their redemption arcs. We all love a good, celebrity story. Somebody either fell out of favor because of something that they did, or maybe they just weren't as popular anymore and now they're making a comeback. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into it, let's do our 4-minute faves. Terry, do you want to start us out today?
Sure. My fave happens to be very much in line with our topic today, and it is the Charlie Sheen 2-part series documentary on Netflix. I think it's just called Charlie Sheen. I'm not sure, but it's just on Netflix.
If you have Netflix, it's
right there. It's top of the thing.
On that front page. Yeah.
It just came out a week or two ago. Full disclosure, I have watched part 1 and I plan to watch part 2 in the next couple days. But part 1 was captivating enough that I'm interested to watch part 2. And my knowledge of Charlie Sheen, he really hit it big when I was young, when we were younger. So I feel like growing up, oh, Charlie Sheen. And I really felt like I knew Emilio Estevez because of the Mighty Ducks movies better, and
Brett
knowing
Peck.
that they were brothers. It's an ode to the 80s and the excess of the partying. He was best friends with Nicolas Cage. There's so much
Brat Pack.
Yes.
Yep.
The Brat Pack. There's so much family history from, his dad was Martin Sheen, who was really well known, well before, generations past. And there's just so much that he has been through, and multiple redemption arcs in terms of his comeback stories. I mean, there was many that came through the movies, and he was really just so huge in the 80s. I don't think I fully understood how huge he was. I think anyone who was a teen or young adult in the 80s would probably say oh, I need to ask my sister-in-laws actually who were teens in the 80s, just in terms of how big he was at the time. I mean, he was the number one dude in terms of movies and pop culture. And then he had multiple redemption stories, and then was on 2.5 Men. And that when he was on 2.5 Men, that sitcom, that was his 7th comeback. I mean, he had done many comebacks.
That's how I best know him is from that show.
Yes.
When I think
leading
He's
up to
had
that.
comebacks since then too.
Yes. It's
this most recent one doing this documentary.
Yes.
Putting it all out there.
It's amazing he's
he's
still
in the
alive.
documentary. They're interviewing him.
So he's in it.
It's all him. Yeah.
And I haven't gotten to part 2 yet, where I think Denise Richards, his ex-wife, he also has a daughter with his high school sweetheart who's 40 years old. He's a grandfather and has his oldest daughter is 40. He has a very lengthy, complex history. The only thing that's weird is that one brother, not Emilio Estevez, is in it being interviewed. John Cryer, who was on 2.5 Men, was being interviewed. He even says, I was hesitant to sign up and agree to this because this is the MO that Charlie Sheen has, as he always lands on his feet. And am I contributing to that? By this documentary is another form of him being successful and making this comeback when he has done a lot of people a lot of damage. But Emilio Estevez,
Fascinating.
who I wanted to hear from, is not in it at all. And it says he declined to be interviewed. I was telling my husband this, and he Googled it, and he said, oh, it's because my sweet, naive husband, he goes, oh, it's because he just wanted Charlie Sheen to have the spotlight. So he declined to be interviewed. I don't think so.
It's not that simple.
Cute.
That was cute. He loves Mighty Ducks. I'm no.
It's real cute.
Or I think there's a lot of sibling jealousy there too.
Yeah.
because
I'm sure
and
there's,
it
I was gonna say
tracks that
famous
in it
people.
too. Yeah, in terms of their careers and
Yeah.
how they tracked and took off and
Yep.
all of that. So very watchable. While you're folding laundry, hanging out. So
Yeah.
Charlie
Yeah.
Sheen.
I've heard great things.
Yeah.
It's on my watch
Okay.
list.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you've started it. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Wilhelmina?
Well, I stayed up late last night watching a movie that I really wanted to have be one of my faves. And one, I didn't finish it because it just got too late. And I was like, this is not going to be a fave. And I was so
Oh.
disappointed because I was so hopeful. And I was like, oh, I got to watch this because I got to have it as my fave. And Owen's like, you're just wanting to watch the movie. I'm like, that's valid. I am wanting to watch the movie. So I pivoted and am now doing an app instead.
Wait. What was it that you watched last night?
Oh, it was called All of You with
Okay.
Oh,
Brett
I've heard about
Goldstein.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's on Apple. And Brett Goldstein, anyone who watched
I
Ted
love
Lasso
him. Yeah.
or Shrinking. Yeah, I love him too. And it's interesting. I actually was going to pitch it as a podcast idea. The storyline is about like a When Harry Met Sally type of thing. So like friends
Okay.
from like, and yet there's like a futuristic pivot where there's a test where you can take a test and get matched with your soulmate.
Mhm.
And so some people do it, some people don't. And so then these friends, they're friends and kind of obviously a little romance, but then she's matched with someone else. So it plays it to the story. So
But you're not recommending it.
Good concept.
Yeah, I was gonna say the concept sounds good. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
That's it.
concept.
Not
I mean,
executed.
maybe we'll see how they pull together the last 30 minutes, but even with that, I'm like, it's not perfect. It's not
Yeah.
perfect. It's fine. So an app. So I have one of my really good friends from, I say high school, but I've known her since like 5th grade. She is a pilot. She lives in LA and we see each other a couple times a year. She always comes in for our Oscar party. And then we see each other when we Minnesota for the state fair. But after having kids, I became horrible at like responding to texts, or I'd sort of text sporadically. And then she would want to call. And I know a lot of you understand, like, we go through our whole day. It's like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I don't have it in me to like do a call, even for someone
every
I
day.
love. Right.
Mhm.
And
Every
so we're always trying to find ways to connect. And I've never been a phone person. So that's harder because I like could be the person that like gives her a call on my way to work or things like that. But so we discovered this app that's called Marco Polo. And it's like video chats. So you record a video chat. You say something, you like just basically text
Chat.
yeah. And then you send it. And we found it because there was a group of, I don't know, this came across our Instagram feed, and it was a group of guys that had been sending themselves like 5-minute videos to each other weekly for like years. And we were like, how cool a concept is that? Like once a week, you send a 5-minute video, just giving like a little update on your life. And I pitched it to Erica and then 2 of our other friends from high school. And we started doing that. Unfortunately, we're all talkers. So it ended up being like super long videos, which then of course I was like, wait a minute. Now I don't have time to watch
Now
the
I'm
videos.
stressed about watching the
Now I'm
video.
stressed
Mhm.
about watching the videos,
Mhm.
which I did have to tell them because they called me out being like, well, Amina, you're not doing it. I'm like, I don't have time to watch the videos. But Eric and I also will just do it on the side, and we'll send a message here or there. And it has been a really fun way to connect. And I'll just do it in the car. So I actually will like record a video, and as I'm like driving to work, just talking about this or that, send it. And when she gets a chance, she responds. And there's like no pacing of it, but it's been a fun way to sort of stay in touch and do it when we're each available. So it almost feels like we're having like a in-person conversation. It's just like a little delayed. There is like a notes app in there too. So if you're watching something and you're like, oh, I want to comment on that or whatever. So when you're recording, you can pull up like the notes app and be like, you had talked about the Charlie Sheen documentary and da, da, da. So it's just been I think a fun way to stay in touch with someone where it's a little bit more intimate and personal than like texting. But if you can't do calls or FaceTimes, this is a good thing.
Like an in between.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Vanessa, what about you?
Well, first of all, I recently shared Toto cookies and Terry texted me. So I just
happy.
and we should do this more when we share something and one of us has like tried it, so that you guys know that we actually do try each other's things. So Terry, can you please give your take on the Toto cookies?
Yes, I got mine through my Thrive Market subscription because I happened to be due to place an order maybe the day we recorded or the day after, and Thrive ships quickly if you hit ship now. I have the chocolate chip and maybe the birthday cookie or something that's more like a vanilla flavored one.
Yeah.
And they taste good. I can read all the ingredients on the box, like you said, which is fantastic. A good soft baked cookie. So very pleased with it. I've tried both flavors and they lived up to the hype.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to get this in my next.
I was going to say, I want to find them at Home Goods though, because that's where you said, like, I'm that is going to be I like want to do the Home Goods trip and find them in that aisle.
There you go. So you have to report back to see if you like
I
them.
will. Yeah.
So I've shared a couple, like last couple podcasts, I've shared some like snacks, I've shared some workout stuff. So I wanted to get back to sharing because I really love, you all know that I love makeup. So I was doing my makeup today and I was like, I have some things that I haven't shared yet that I've used for a long time. So my under eye makeup, you can barely read this because it's all rubbing away because I've had this for so long and it works really well. So it's the Bye Bye Under Eye by It Cosmetics.
I use their cream
really good
at your recommendation.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the cream. Yeah. So there's a couple of things of theirs that I really love. The eye cream I really love. Their face wash, which I was actually going to share. I love that. I've gone through a gajillion bottles of their face wash. And then this under eye. So if you're looking for a full cover, it's full coverage under eye. And
it's the only thing that works for our age. It's the only thing.
Full coverage.
Full coverage.
We do not need light.
Yeah, this is full coverage.
Create the illusion of sleep and youth instantly with one swipe. That's all I need.
Yeah, so it's full coverage. It also has anti-aging. So there's actually like a component to like anti-aging. It's waterproof too, which I like. I mean, I guess waterproof in the sense of if you're sweating, or I guess if you're crying, that too. But yes, I naturally have just dark circles. And yes, now that I'm older, they're even darker and I don't sleep well a lot. So they're even darker and they cover them really well. So a little goes a long way, which is why my bottle's starting to like rub off. You just need a little bit under each eye and it works really well. I've tried some like really popular that I've seen a lot of followers, other brands, and I hate them. And I keep coming back to this. Like it just doesn't work. But this works for me. I know everyone has different skin, so it might not work for everyone. So if you try and you don't like it, I'm sorry. But I've been using it for a long time.
For everybody.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously everyone has different skin. I feel like my skin is like normal to dry. So if that helps you, but I love this stuff and it goes a long way. I personally use a beauty blender to when I put it on. Some people use like brushes. I've tried that. I don't like it. I prefer a beauty blender. So that's how I use my Bye Bye Under Eye. So.
And the brand is It.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's It Cosmetic. Yeah. IT. So it's It Cosmetics. Mm-hmm.
So my under eye is really dry. And so that's my thing is like finding something that's going to cover, but also not like
dry
it further. Yeah.
So I feel like this is very moisturizing. And like I said, I've tried some other popular ones. Like a lot of people talk about the Tarte one. I tried a couple of theirs and it was just a waste of money for me. And people rave about it. That's why I say it depends how everyone's skin is different. I've not liked any of the ones that I've tried from that brand. But I've gone through several bottles of these. So that's my share.
Cool.
Lauren, how about you?
So I think I'm trying to will the fall season by some of my shares. So we went to
You're ready.
No, we're all like sweating today.
Today.
Really wearing a tank top.
It's like, yes. Okay. So
I was like, I'm hot.
I know it's 79 degrees right now in Michigan, but we went to the pumpkin patch in the apple orchard on Saturday and like sweat while we were picking out pumpkins, but we still did it. But so I'm sharing my simmer pot. Okay. So you guys see that?
Oh, cute.
It's so cute. It's little. So like you can see, it's like the size of my hand. because now that we went to the apple orchard and I have far too many apples, it's a really, really cute little thing to put on your stove and then throw in like some apple slices and cinnamon sticks this time of year. And it like makes in some water and it makes your house smell amazing. And so like when I start this time of year, now I'll do like little derivations, you know, through Christmas and make it a little bit different and add in like, I don't know, you know, rosemary and things like that. But it's from Amazon and they show it like, the person that I had been following somebody on Instagram that shared it, and she was doing it as gifts. So she would like buy the little glass pot and then put in like dried apples, cinnamon sticks, you know, rosemary or whatever, and then like give it as a housewarming gift or just like a
I like that.
hostess gift.
Yeah, that's a great housewarming gift.
It's a great idea, and it's not that expensive, so we'll link it, but it's really pretty sitting on your stove because it's because it's clear, so you can actually see the like, you know, cinnamon stick in there and things like that, and it's got a little opening at the top so it steams out, so you can keep it closed, so it just like looks really pretty. And again, if we can sort of will the fall season in by our scents, because we can't do a whole lot else right now. Like my mums are dying because it's been 80 degrees.
I'm
so
so
I'm trying in little ways.
I know.
So
like,
yes, my little
man.
simmer pot to start the fall scents on the stove.
So do you put that on when you're hosting, or are you like, you know what I feel like today? I'm going to put on my simmer pot. Okay.
Both, because you know, well, something I got from Home Goods really cheap. You can get a whole thing of cinnamon sticks, like in those aisles Vanessa was talking about. And I just keep them in my pantry. And so you just like throw in that and chop up an apple in a full pot of water. And then if you keep it on your lowest setting, it'll last for hours.
Okay.
And it's safe, right? And so then sometimes I'll add some more water to it if I'm just like home for the day. So it's different than, you know, if you don't feel like lighting a candle or putting on a scent aroma thing or whatever. It's just like a fun little thing to do, and it looks pretty.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I like that, especially because a lot of candles are made with and then they're always talking about how you're lighting them and the smell smells good, but you're like, nothing. I think we need to have a podcast about things that we know are not good for us, but we just don't give a fuck. We're going to do it anyway.
We're going to do it anyway.
I love that.
Just like,
write that down.
No, I
have a lot of lists.
I get it.
We could go nuts on that.
It's not good for you, but I'm sorry. I'm going to keep doing it anyway.
Got my Skittles that I was eating last night with my movie, being like, red dye number 40. Here I go.
Like, my brain is fully matured. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh gosh. All right, ladies, let's start our conversation. We're talking about celebrities with a good comeback story. We all love a good redemption arc. I think part of it has to do with our just fascination with resilience. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the people who come back, you know, after something maybe challenging has happened in their life. Sometimes people just kind of fall out of favor just because, you know, whatever show they were on is no longer popular, or, you know, time, age, you know, sometimes people, especially in Hollywood, we've talked about this on other episodes, that, you know, women in particular, you know, get to a certain age and they're no longer the sexy, you know, siren, you know, so they have less roles they can be in. Well, I shouldn't say that they can be in, but that they're, you know, hired to be in. Yeah, they're offered. So let's start our chat. Anybody think of someone off the top of your head that good comeback story?
I mean, I love a celebrity, anything celebrity where someone has, I mean, the scandal and then the redemption. And I had a lot of different examples, but I think the one that Rob Lowe. So Rob Lowe, I feel like now, I mean, I feel like everyone loves Rob Lowe, right? Like he's in a couple good TV shows. I feel like his sons now are, or at least one of them is doing acting as well. Yeah. Does he have his own podcast, or I know he's on podcasts. I don't know if he has his own.
I don't know.
But like, he got sober. I feel like he has gotten good roles. He's matured in a kind of, he's drifted appropriately. Yes. But back in the 80s, and a lot of people, I may not even know this if they like are just knowing Rob Lowe as he is today. But when he got famous, he actually was like, because he was part of the Brat Pack and all the rest, was wrapped up in the world of drinking and drugs and all the rest. And then in the late 80s, he had a sex tape scandal. So he ended up with 2 underage girls. Yeah. And I guess I was trying to read up on this. I guess they were 16, which I guess was still legal for a consent standpoint. And he was 24. But the problem was he recorded it.
And
that was the issue.
In his book, I think it's an autobiography. My recollection, I read it a few years ago. Side note, his book is fantastic. He alludes to it, but doesn't go into details. So he sort of talks around it vaguely and glosses over it.
Yeah, he definitely does. And so I kind of remember being like, oh, Rob Lowe is a little like, ugh. And then
skanky.
Kind of a little skanky. And then he did kind of disappear for a little bit.
I mean, he's a good looking guy, but he's got a little vibe to him that's a little sleazy.
Like his 80s look is that like just, I think now he does look a little bit more of like a refined older. Yes. But definitely he kind of had that
sleazy.
I feel like I see him in like St. Elmo's Fire with his like saxophone and like, So, so he's someone that it actually took me a little bit longer to come around. And Terry, I actually think it was his book that you recommended. And then I read it and I was like, well, now I just love Rob Lowe. And now, and then he started doing comedy. And that was a big thing. So he changed his genre a little bit. And I think he hit it big in like hitting with Tommy Boy being one of his first ones. And that kind of took his, took his career in a different way. And then all of a sudden this sex tape scandal was behind him.
Chris Farley's brother, right? Chris Farley's brother.
Like, step or whatever.
Stepbrother.
Yeah.
So why do you think people can forgive a story like that?
That's such a good question.
I think people like hope and the possibility that it's never too late to change. And even when it seems that people have been way overboard or totally across the line and there's no coming back, when we see people come back years later or months later or whenever, I think that instills hope in other people that no matter how old you are, no matter what you go through, there's still a chance that you might have a second act or a third act. And one thing I thought about when we were prepping for today's podcast is the one-liner that us psychologists have been trained to say if we were ever to testify or be asked about a potential individual's propensity or inclination to do something again or commit a crime again. And the one-liner is the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. Because true sustaining change is really hard for people, and true change is very small and incremental. And I think that most of us, whether we know that based on the research or we know that on a visceral personal level, we know change really is hard. So when we see these stories, we think, but it's possible. And you never know what could come, what could happen in the future.
And I think,
go ahead.
I think also the idea of like forgiveness. So these people you can make mistakes, big public headline mistakes. And if you show through behaviors, if you kind of give it time, if you act accordingly, like the idea that you can be forgiven, we can be forgiven, I think it gives us all hope that we're all human, we can make mistakes, and people can be forgiven for them, I think is part of the hope, right?
Well, I was looking at kind of what makes us forgive someone versus not someone else. And so I was looking at things like attribution theory. So we are much more likely to forgive someone if whatever they've done is external. So we might say, well, they were using drugs because they were a childhood star and they've been through all this trauma. So you're much more likely to forgive someone who's had a background like that, experience that because it wasn't their fault, right? Versus somebody where it's an internal flaw characteristic. So somebody who's just a shitty person, you will be less likely to forgive them, right? We can all think of.
I also think we're quicker to forgive people who, speaking of attribution errors, who resemble us in any way, similar background,
for sure.
Similar SES or ethnicity, life circumstances, anything that if we can find ourselves in the other, we're more likely to
we can relate.
forgive. Yeah.
And that's part of why we forgive, because we know as human beings that at some point we've made a mistake in our life, right? And you want, if it makes you feel better knowing that if you did something, even if it wasn't to the same kind of level as this person, that people would forgive you and look for the positive in you. And so even if we don't do the same thing, we like that idea that people would forgive us for something that we've done. And especially in Hollywood, as I was saying, there's a lot of these similar stories where they got into this scene, and, we can think of like Christina Ricci, like so many of these actors who, became very famous, very young, and were around a lot of things that most people their age weren't, and got into things. Drew Barrymore is another one, right? I mean, she's a great, talk about a comeback story. Example of having been in the limelight too early and exposed to things that, other people wouldn't. And then that led to poor choices. And so we can kind of see that and say, okay, well, that wasn't entirely their fault because they're in these situations.
And I think the willingness to be vulnerable, when you asked about like, why are we willing to forgive? Like, it's a lot easier to forgive somebody that can like fall on the sword and be like, I messed up and here's how I messed up. And here's what, right? Like, Absolutely. And that's true in our day-to-day life for sure, but definitely with people that we don't know personally, celebrities, but we feel like we can relate to in some way. If they have that ability to recognize the vulnerability of the human experience and that they were vulnerable in whatever way, it makes it so much more, number one, relatable, because I think whether we're good at being vulnerable or not, when you see somebody express vulnerability, it's certainly relatable and we can empathize with that. But then it makes it just so much easier to forgive the person, right? Because they're not trying to say, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't know why I haven't been in the limelight all these years, right? It just makes them much more likable. And that increases our ability to forgive.
And it's the accountability, like the accountability piece that you're willing, the only words you should ever say when you're apologizing is, I'm sorry. Hard stop.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Not but. Not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well,
Excellent.
And this summer, my husband and I started to watch, I should say, the Pee Wee Herman documentary. Did anyone else watch this?
No, I heard about that. I know.
Speaking of someone who fell way out of favor, right? And I was just a little bit intrigued by it. I didn't know if I needed to watch it, but I was like, he was such a presence in our time of our childhood. I didn't ever love him. I wasn't like a huge Pee Wee Herman fan, but it still was like, We started to watch it, and we stopped, we went to bed, and we never went back. And I think we both had a very similar reaction. And it touches on this authenticity piece where he was a weird guy. And even in the interviews, he was very, even the people who did it said he was very closed off, and he would sort of give you something, but then he'd joke, and you're like, wait, was he being authentic? Was he not being authentic? He would say
character.
Right. And it was a little off-putting and strange, and made there was like an ick to watching it, where I was like, I feel bad that he clearly had a rough life, especially the second half of it. And then he did die. He died very soon after doing this documentary. And I think he was trying to be authentic and trying to open up, but that he just couldn't do it.
There's
and then that
missing.
left this. Yes. And I was like, nope, no redemption here for me. I mean, I just sort of was like, no, it doesn't ring true.
Yeah. I mean, I think some celebrities have made a comeback, and I mean, to be quite honest, I don't think they really deserve it. And I think that's another thing. I think with enough time, some things kind of just feel a little, you forget, you're just like, oh, I guess maybe it wasn't that big a deal. Right. It, again, depends on what it is, especially if it's shitty behavior that was maybe specific to their situation, cheating on your spouse.
I was just going to say, in the sports world, Tiger Woods.
Oh,
he made a lot of stupid personal decisions. Right. But when he started to come back, you could appreciate his athleticism and his skill as an athlete. And he really separated himself from that personal side of him. And so it's okay, you can root for him as the athlete. You can still say what he did in his personal life.
He can be a shitty husband, but still be a good golf player. And he didn't do anything that was at least based on the information we have available,
Right.
he didn't do anything that was overtly malicious. He had marriage problems that
Right.
a lot of
So
people.
I think people often forgive that. Like, same thing with,
they're both
you guys,
adults.
one of you brought up Jude Law. He's in
yeah.
that show. And when
With
you
the
did, the first
nanny.
thing that popped into my mind was like, he cheated on his wife with a nanny. But then he disappeared for a while, and now he's back in the show, right? And I was like, and you kind of like, I mean, I remembered it just because I remember that story, but I think a lot of people probably forgot about that story because it was a very isolated story. It was specific to like his relationship.
Jude Law and the nanny, those two go hand in hand. But here's the thing. I like Jude Law as I'm watching him and have no interest in him as a person. So in terms of like my kind of like opening my heart to him, I'm like, nope. So there's one where I'm like, nope. Yeah. I feel like he would do that in a heartbeat again. But he's a good actor and he's hot. So I'll watch you. But I'm not going to, I don't know. I'm not rooting for you.
Vanessa has a good one.
Yeah. So I think, I was going to say, if we transition, sometimes we've been talking a lot about comebacks from, maybe something that we did that, that the actor, athlete, celebrity did something that was not favorable. But sometimes, celebrities have a good comeback and it has nothing to do with what they did. And so when I was thinking of this, I thought of Pam Anderson. And not only is it a comeback, I mean, this is a reinvention of this woman. Yes. So she was well known for being on Baywatch. That's all I have to say. Baywatch.
We were bathing suit, blonde, big boobs. There we go.
She also is very well known for being in a relationship with Tommy Lee, sex tape. We all, and she was basically Playboy, right? These are all words that when you thought of Pam Anderson, she's like a bombshell.
Yeah, sex symbol of like the 90s.
Very sexualized image. The outfit she wore, her appearance, right? It was all very sexualized. And then she kind of disappeared, right? We talked about this where, she was at a certain age, Hollywood just doesn't see women as the kind of the bombshell anymore. And she has made such an amazing comeback. So she did The Last Showgirl, which rave reviews. She also did The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson. And on top of doing really well in these films that are very, very different than Baywatch, she's also, her aesthetic has changed very much. So she's basically like very minimal makeup, very different from, her kind of image from back in the days of Baywatch. And so it's really nice, I think, to see someone like that have this amazing comeback where she didn't do anything wrong. I mean, literally, she did nothing wrong. I mean, I guess you could say the sex tape, but again, there's a lot of scandal there. It wasn't her fault, right?
Overexposed, but
right. Yes.
Literally.
But her be able to find her niche in Hollywood now as, an older woman. I think she's in her 50s. Is she in her 50s? Yeah. A woman in her 50s. And basically with a, I just don't give a shit attitude. Right. And, people are raving about her. I know she's done some stuff on Broadway stuff. So I love her story. And I love that she's made this, reinvention.
And isn't she dating
I
Liam Neeson?
was going to say, do you think that's true?
No,
or was that for
I don't know.
It's all
I don't know.
I mean,
it's so cute if it is.
I think they're having fun. Maybe
Liam, we're alluding to the Liam Neeson romance. I think it's all a marketing ploy. But
I don't know that it's true, but I would. I would have loved it because his story. Oh my goodness! His story with his wife, Natasha Richardson. That story is so sad to me. But it's like he has 2 boys, she has 2 boys. Their kids are about the same age. They're like young adults. I was like, I would love it if they were. But I wasn't convinced that they were.
I was for about a week. And then I forgot what I saw. I saw something where I thought, this seems ployish.
Well, now it's like this PR thing. What is with this PR news of like, you're in a movie with somebody and we're gonna sort of make it seem so like we're
smart
together.
And Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper did it so well. They perfected it.
It's the best.
I mean, I think people, that's more, and people used to do it long ago. It was very orchestrated in old Hollywood. And for what was that movie? With Lady Gaga, Stars Born. Yes. And
such a good movie.
Shallow's the song.
Yes. And I think that revitalized that marketing strategy.
Yes.
Yeah. Of concocting a romance between stars.
Right. But they're not even, I think before in Hollywood, they would actually date each other. And that was part, but they're not even dating. They're just going to these,
they're playing up their chemistry together.
Yes,
and they're like, we're just going to
these
go
photo
all out.
ops. Yeah. So they're
Why
not,
not?
so you're like, I
Take
think
it all the way to the bank.
But it's working. That's
Yeah,
the
it's
thing.
working.
We're
It's
talking
definitely
about
working.
it. Like
It's
it's
definitely
working.
working.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely working.
Then you
Any
want to
other-
watch the movie to see if they have good chemistry on the, well, if you
Yeah.
hadn't seen the movie, you watch the movie to be like, ooh, do they have good chemistry? Like, what is this like? Yeah.
It's like,
Sells
and it's an
tickets.
extension of the movie. Any other good comeback stories?
So I was thinking about, a couple, like the two people in Hollywood that kind of have similar sort of, I don't know, arcs in terms of how they came back, Lindsay Lohan and Robert Downey junior
Yes.
I mean, similar, lots of drugs and all of that kind of stuff when they were growing up as younger stars, whatever, different kinds of things as to why they retreated from the spotlight. But when I was doing a little prep for today and reading about their stories and why they're kind of viewed similarly in terms of their path, and it's because they didn't come back and throw themselves in our faces. They came back in small supporting roles. Like she came back, her role was actually more of a primary role, but in a Christmas movie on Netflix.
Yeah.
So like very
Small.
niche,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And he came back in a supporting role. Oh my gosh, I forget what they said it was before he got Tony Stark. And the Iron Man and whatever. He was in a couple of smaller supporting roles. I'll have to look it up. But and how that worked well for them, because then it was like you're like seeing them just a little bit, and they're maybe doing an interview with the bigger star of the movie just a little bit, and they're not like throwing themselves in your face, and you're reminded that you really like the talent of this person, and then they can kind of roll with it and go into like these bigger projects. Kind of smart.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I think people really like stories like Lindsay Lohan because, like, while she did have some, I think for her the bigger issue is that a lot of childhood stars don't do well
Yep.
into their adult, right? Like their careers kind of end at some point
Yeah.
for various reasons. And she's kind of come out on the other end looking lovely, and just kind of like it's kind of a low key comeback where like she's back, but she's not.
Well, I
It's
wanted
not
to
like too
actually,
much.
Lauren, when you said you were bringing up Lindsay Lohan, I actually wanted to throw out the question that part of Lindsay Lohan's comeback absolutely involves whatever plastic surgery she did.
Yes.
Which
No, I know. She looks really good.
She
Yeah.
looks
Good.
And here's
I
the
know.
thing, like
Yeah, she looks really good.
She did not look great. Like she had gone down this path
looked a
of
little
like
rough.
tons, tons
drugs.
of plastic surgery, like all of that. Like I remember watching that Christmas movie, and this was before she had whatever surgery.
Yes.
And I actually was like, I don't know if I can watch it. It's just uncomfortable to watch. Like she just, and I actually always liked Lindsay Lohan. I love The Parent Trap. I thought she actually was a pretty talented actress. But all of that plastic surgery is just like, oh, this is just. And then my friend told me to watch her other Christmas movie that came out, like, was it last Christmas or the Christmas before? And I watched it. And I'm like, what did she do to her face?
I know.
It's like all undone. Like whatever she did, I like she undid
Looks
it all.
really good.
She found some good
And
people.
I think that is part of hers is that she literally erased some of what was the issue. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I saw her in between, right? Because I never watched that movie, so I don't think I saw her in between. But that's interesting that you say that she was like overdid it, and now I mean,
Well,
I think
in
that's
general, it just sounds like they're healthier too. Like, I mean, she took a different route to look healthier, but like sometimes when these people
doesn't look drugged
come
out.
back, they really have truly taken care of themselves in a way that, again, if we go back to sort of the beginning of the conversation and just be like having empathy and relating, like it feels really good to watch somebody overcome something and accomplish a goal, because it makes you feel like you could do that in whatever your world is. And so there is this sense of she looks healthier now. How she got there, but like there were things that she had to do to get herself back into that kind of position, and so maybe that's a little bit of a part of it.
I watched I don't know if it was a video clip, but she was getting ready to do something. And so they were just interviewing her while she's getting ready. And she spent the whole time talking about being a mom, like they were interviewing her. And it was just kind of sweet. And again, who knows? Maybe it wasn't real, but it seemed real. And she was just talking about, she was a mom. She was talking about her son and how that's changed her. And I think there's something about that whole story for her, that she got married to this guy who's not, I mean, he's wealthy, right? But like, he's
Yeah.
not, I mean, I don't know who he was, but right, you never heard of this guy before.
But she also
And
doesn't live here anymore. She like lives
Mm-mm.
over
she
India
has
or
her
wherever
kid, and
he's
she has a
from.
son. Yeah, and she has
Yeah.
a son. Like, so she's got this. Yeah, it's like a good story because she's, you know, she's done some of the things that you know, the normal things that normal people do, right? Get married, have a kid,
Yeah.
and you know, here she is being interviewed, and she's spending most of her time talking about her son. So it was just kind of a cute, story.
I also think there's a difference between individuals whose downfall is related to drugs and alcohol versus not. So I
That's a
think,
good point.
yeah, I
Mhm.
do. I think
agree.
that people, those of us who've known, most of us have people who have either stopped drinking or stopped if they had alcohol use disorder, or if someone had stopped using drugs, their physical appearance improves so dramatically, so quickly
Yeah, that's true.
that they look
Yeah.
healthier. And I also think that some type of drug use or alcoholism impacts, usually we can reach out and think of somebody we've known personally,
Yeah.
whether it's a family
Yeah.
member, a friend, a neighbor,
Yeah.
a childhood friend, someone you still follow on Facebook that you went to high school with, or something. That touches everybody's lives either very directly or at least at a distance. And I think when we can see people get sober and abstain and overcome that feels really good, and maybe gives you hope for people in your life who might have those similar struggles, or that you might be aware
Right.
of that. So I do think there seems to be a difference when there is character flaws or true pathologies like pedophilia, like if someone's a pedophile, versus
Well, that's one of those kind of that I was saying earlier. Like,
got
that's
into drugs.
like an intrinsic personal flaw that you're like,
Mhm.
there's no
right.
forgiving
Like will
that.
Diddy ever come back? I hope
No,
not.
no.
I cannot imagine.
No.
Like, that's
No.
one of those
No,
things.
There's
we're not
no
forgiving that.
redemption
There's
arc
no
for
way.
that.
No.
There's no redemption arc. I mean,
Or what about when things have been done to you? Those are some of the best. Like, guys, remember Monica Seles when she got
Yes, she
stabbed
got
on the tennis
stabbed.
court?
Yes.
Or Nancy Kerrigan? Like those,
Yes.
like then we're like really rooting for their redemption. Like this came out of
Yes.
nowhere. Talk about external factors.
Mhm.
Like, and they were injured doing the thing that they love and they were famous for. I think everybody can get behind that, like sort of redemption arc. And that happens, you know, unfortunately in the world of sport celebrity. But those are like really fun ones to root for that I don't think anybody would question you rooting for those kinds of people.
Yes.
or the spouse who got cheated on. So one of the ones that I had mentioned earlier, and I think we've seen this a bunch of times. So Shania Twain, she lost her voice about 15 years ago. And like literally around the same time, she found out that her husband and her best friend were cheating. Her husband was cheating with her, with the best friend. And, you know, she made a recovery with her voice. She's had some Las Vegas residencies. She ended up finding love actually with the best friend's husband, which is interesting.
Which is crazy.
That's interesting.
Swap. Let's just do a swap.
Swip swap.
Yeah.
It's worked though. I think they're all still together.
Yeah, no, they are. And I mean, she has described her marriage with her second husband as a very healthy relationship. And I could see, you know, you were both hurt by these people you cared for. They obviously knew each other. It was like her best friend's husband. There's like a bonding component to it. Like, I still think it's weird, but I can see.
Honestly, not the only story I've heard of like
Greg Norman.
Like trauma bonding.
There is someone else, and I couldn't
Greg
think of
Norman and his ex-wife, they swapped. The golfer who's probably like 80 right now, but they swapped.
Who's the news people? The two news people.
Oh, yes. TJ Holmes and Amy Roback.
Yes.
And then the husband and
Andrew
wife.
Shue.
Yes.
Yes.
Are they all still together?
Oh, that I don't know. Even the other couple, the cheated on.
Good luck.
Well, TJ Holmes and Amy Roback are definitely together. They have a podcast together.
Right. Nothing like establishing a relationship under the premise of infidelity. But it's a great solid way to start your relationship.
Why do you always think I'm cheating? Well, I mean,
right.
Although, you know, so speaking of cheating, and so do you guys remember Leanne Rimes? And I cannot think of her.
Eddie Healing's falling. We're good.
Eddie Cibrian.
Cibrian, yes. So that they were the cheaters. So well,
he was a cheater.
They were the cheaters.
Right.
Yeah. He was cheating.
Every time I see her, I look at Leanne Rimes.
No, she was married too.
Oh, she was?
Yes.
I can't remember if she was. He was definitely married.
Definitely married.
To the Real Housewives lady.
She was married to, I believe they met because he was a backup dancer. And the reason he's from Michigan. There's a reason I know who this person is. But she was married at the same time too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, but they're still together. So
They
that's,
are.
that's
But
why
when
I
I
say
see them,
sometimes
I
this
think
is
bad
good.
karma. You all are doomed. It's a matter of time. That dude is
So
going to
it's
cheat on you.
interesting. So here's a not great
No
redemption.
redemption from Terry.
It might
So
take
she was
35
on-
years, but it's going to happen.
So she was on The Masked Singer. Have any of you watched that
Yeah.
show? So, okay.
Yeah.
So she was on The Masked Singer. Her voice is amazing. And
Yeah.
the show is cool because you don't see them the whole time. So she sang the whole season. Her voice is amazing. I mean, she
is
was
Leanne Rimes,
so
right?
good. Leanne
Yeah.
Rimes.
Yeah, she's
So
talented.
she wins the season. So she wins the season. And a lot of times when I've seen, the reason why I like that show is because there's actually a lot of people who, have lost popularity and were singers
Sure.
who go through the show. And a lot of times they come out the other end, they win, and now they're super popular again. Like Vanessa Hudgens was on there. I mean, some big names have been on the show. And so she comes out the other end. And I remember being like, where did she disappear to? And then I remembered, the story. And she hasn't done anything since. So even though she has this beautiful, amazing voice,
He's holding her down. He won't let her.
I think people, I don't know, but I think people just can't.
He's got to be
like,
the
there
star.
are some situations where people just cannot forget.
I'm not a fan.
what's done.
Potentially not marketable.
Yeah, like I wonder if that's
Something.
what it is, because I'm like, her voice is
incredible.
I forgot how amazing her voice
Yeah,
was, and
it's
she was
really
singing
good.
songs from different genres, so it wasn't just country. And I was like, man, that voice is amazing. When they unmasked her, and I was like, that's Leanne Rimes. I was like, why isn't she doing anything? And then I was like, oh, well.
Do you remember Coyote Ugly, the movie?
Oh, I
Coyote
love
Ugly?
that
Yes.
movie.
Oh,
I
I
think
love that
it's
movie.
Leanne Rimes who does a lot of the
Her
singing.
entire soundtrack
Yes,
is her. Yeah.
Yes, which by the way
Wow.
was such a good soundtrack.
Such a good soundtrack.
Piper. Yes, Piper. I know.
Do
I
you
wish
guys
they had.
remember my Coyote Ugly themed bachelorette party?
I do.
Or like,
I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I remember
yes.
the beginning.
Yeah.
I remember part
not
of it.
themed, but we went to
Yeah.
like whatever. Not
We went
themed,
to
but,
a
like, I
Coyote
remember
Ugly
the
bar.
beginning.
Let me clarify.
I remember the beginning.
I remember
I know
the
it started.
beginning. I know how
I
it
don't
started.
remember the ending.
Yeah.
I remember there was a feather boa, a crown.
I said,
A lot of boas.
all I want is this, and I wanted a boa, and I was like, I want a boa. for my
Coyote
bachelorette
Ugly was
party.
very big around that time when you got
huge.
married.
I was going to say, there was a
Yes.
time period.
There was
for
a
it,
time
yes.
period. It was a moment. It had a
Yeah,
moment.
Not like I would be doing that today.
Right. Right.
You know, one person that I had on there was Winona Ryder, and this was like
That's a good one.
so she, of course, huge in 80s, 90s, and then I don't know if you guys remember this, but
Yeah.
she got caught
Mhm.
like shoplifting.
Oh,
Shoplifting.
that's right.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
like
think
North
hers
Saks or
And
something.
not
Yeah.
something small too, I think.
is something small.
Yeah.
Little.
And
yeah.
I was thinking about what you said, Terry, where there were no drugs and alcohol involved. Like this was not something where she's like, oh, I was coked out of my head and da da da. But we also know, I mean, theft like that is really common. I see it all the time in my practice. These sort of the little, like you just pick something up at a store and
Little dopamine hit. Dink.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And yet, I think the backlash for her was like, you are a celebrity who has so much money.
Yeah.
You could
Mhm.
buy anything. And here you are stealing. And she really fell out of favor for a lot of people with
Yes.
that. Like that was a big hit to her. But then she had her
Tiny
comeback
little
with
role.
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And then I think that really has like kind of put her back on the map. And then of course she was in Beetlejuice, the
The
new
new one.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people kind of let that go after that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because then
Yeah.
I think, again, we talked about like in the grand scheme
time.
of things, it was
The
kind of like,
time.
This
and
is
the time-
forgivable.
yeah, like,
Mhm.
okay, that was weird. It's almost like, well, that's weird. Why
Yeah.
would you, right?
Mhm.
So, which is very different than some of the things we talked about, like people doing like Diddy, right? Like that
Mhm.
is not one of those things
Harm
that
to others.
you will
Yeah.
forget or,
Right.
let go.
I do. Yeah. I think there are certain people, stories, acts that are probably under the list of like impossible. Maybe I don't want to say impossible, but very
Not
hard.
Probable.
Yes, very hard to come back from. I think Diddy is a very good example. I think anytime it's some sort of like something against children or underage people, I think
Mhm.
that's a big one. And I think when it doesn't involve drugs or alcohol and it's something egregious where you're like, well, if you weren't,
Mhm.
if that's not
okay.
what caused this,
Right.
then, but I do think that in general, when you look at all of the things done by singers, athletes, actors, and actresses, there's a lot of really bad stuff that's gone on. And we tend to forgive a lot of it.
Yeah. I think patterns is another one. I think when you see a pattern of something that's like has happened multiple times, it also makes it harder to forgive. So when you have some of these people like, you know, like a Diddy where it's
Charlie
like,
Sheen.
there's a pattern
Right.
here.
Right.
Right.
Well, fool me once, you know, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me for sticking around and, you know, and putting up with it.
Yeah. Any last minute thoughts? That was a good talk, ladies.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. Please join us next time on The Shrink Down.